Good day. I trust all is fantastic. Brian Arahan here with a quick pro tip from a pro coach. I wanted to share a perspective on top agent strategies to create home buyer urgency in this market. So very quick, short video, and this came about as I was thinking. Obviously, the market demand has softened a little bit over the last few years, and we're seeing buyer objections at a different rate, at a different level over what a lot of us have been used to. And as a result, I was just thinking about some ways to create our mindset shift based off of what we're experiencing, what we're seeing, and what we might be having some challenges around. And you may come to a moment where you start to think, man, nobody's buying right now. And yet, on the contrary, there's a lot of opportunity in this market should we just shift our mindset. And I know we're focused, sellers are everything. Sellers are a great way for us to build our skill set and generate more opportunities off of one source of business. And yet, I don't want to forget about buyers as well, because buyers can be a quick way for you to generate an income in between you cultivating your seller business. And so here's something that I wanted to share with you, because a lot of times we might think, we're getting into a lot of conversation with people, ideally, and a lot of people may be saying or telling you, oh, the market is this, market is that, market is this. And yet, I believe there's a niche that's apparent that we may not be focusing on, and that's with first-time home buyers. And I believe the first-time home buyers are going to be amongst one of the more motivated groups of people that you could be talking to. And here's the reason why. Obviously, one of the things that I love to do is I want to show you evidence. I want to show you data. I want to show you visuals, because much like in any market or any consumer, your consumers are going to want to see the visuals. This is a show me market, not a tell me market. So always have your visuals backed up with you. So here's what I found. And this came about just saying, okay, I had a sense that the home buyers increase, or first-time home buyers increase in this market, being that we find that there's less cash who are jumping in, less folks who are on the higher end jumping in, people who pay attention to a lot of the money and the economic news sources are going to be the ones who get a lot more conservative. Now, the folks who are, just hungry to get in, right, because maybe they've been getting beat out over the last few years because of those same individuals with higher down payments, cash, etc., have been buying and beating them out, whether it be VAs, first-time home buyers. A lot of folks have had a tough go of it over the last couple years in our COVID market that we've experienced. And so now that the coast is clear, it's really up to us as agents to educate our first-time home buyers on why right now is still a great time. And so here's how you know. So I went back and said, okay, what happened in our last Great Recession? And you see here from 2008 to 2010, there was an elevated amount of first-time home buyers that jumped into the market because the coast was clear. 41%, 47% in 09, and 50% of all buyers in the United States were first-time home buyers. I truly believe this time is like that time. So with that being said, okay, what are some of the things that we can do to help our first-time home buyers create urgency in the marketplace? And so that takes me to this chart, or this next visual that will help create some urgency. And I believe, number one, it starts with them knowing or having clarity on, hey, where are the opportunities in real estate, and what financially are the long-term gains in buying a home. And so actually my coach shared this with me, and I thought it was very interesting. And so if you go back to, actually let me change the screen here. I want to go back to, let me go to this chart. So this chart, I said, okay, well, what are the average appreciation rates in California, right? And I wanted to look at, let's go back as far as we can. So we went back 20 years, right? So in the early 2000s, and we looked at, all right, what is the average appreciation in California over the last 2 decades, 20 years? And so if you look at this, since 2000, let me even blow this up, since 2000, right, Q1 of 2000 to Q3 of 2022, look at how much appreciation has happened during that time, 252%. for an average of 5.75%. Now, that actually takes in to account the Great Recession, right? So when you look at what's happening in this market and where we are at, where we've been at, you've got to kind of look at, hey, it's really not that bad. And then obviously when you look at the last 10 years, look, we've been at 9%. So the last 10 years being from 2012 to 2022, we've had almost 9% appreciation every single year, year over year. Now, again, you go back to the 5.75 over the last 20 years. My goodness, that was a global financial meltdown you had to factor in, and the average appreciation every single year for the last 20 years have been 5.75. Now, let's take this a step further. So, we've been in a market shift. So when you look at it, and this is a great little link here, and I'm actually going to put this link in the chat, so I trust that you're able to get it. I don't know if I can do this or not because I'm streaming in multiple locations, and yet I'm going to attempt to put these links in here because these are great visuals that you can use to create that buyer urgency. So I would, if I were you, have a conversation with my first-time home buyer that says, why would I want to buy a home? The market's terrible. I would share them the chart that I just shared with you about the lion's share of first-time home buyers who got in since 2003 to 2021. And then I would show them the average appreciation chart that I just shared with you. And then I would show them this, right? Your real estate ROI calculator. So the average price point in our brokerage right now, so far this year is 640. When we finished out last year, it was 730. So again, there has been a bit of a price correction, and yet that it's into multiple accounts, I believe, of why that's happening. I don't see that the market has shifted that much in general. I think our people have gone to where the money is, which is around first-time home buyers. Okay, all right. So 640 is the average price point. Let's just say that you had a home buyer that said, you know what, I don't have the resources right now. Again, if you're not utilizing, and let me go ahead and stop the share for this because this is important. If you're not personally utilizing CalHFA, VA loans, and other low to no down payment programs right now to attract these first-time home buyers, you're missing something. If I were you, what I would do is I would create flyers, I would create videos, much like this. I would create all these different things to give visuals about why right now is a great time to buy as a first-time home buyer. And I would be screaming it from the mountaintops, letting people know here's how you make money in real estate and fortify your financial future by buying real estate today in this market where you can get down payment assistance, where you can get closing costs, when you can negotiate. Why as a first-time home buyer would you wait until everyone else is in the marketplace? I don't get it. Why as an agent would you not tell your clients this as an agent, as an educator? I don't get it. So here's what you would do if I were you. All right. So I would go back to this screen here, and I would sit my first-time home buyer down again in a buyer consultation, because that's what great agents do. Is they educate their clients in a buyer consultation before they take them out to see any properties. Let's blow up this screen. So again, average price point in the brokerage, 640. Let's take this down. Let's just say your first-time home buyer got in with a down payment assistance program. I can't go to zero, and yet let's just assume they're able to get in with just 1% out of pocket. All right, 1% out of pocket. Now, again, what I would tell that buyer who might be nervous about that, I would say, look, what can you pay every single month and be comfortable in that payment? Now, if you find that it is not, the payment is a bit higher than what you can feel for whatever, a bigger home that you've always wanted, you don't have to keep the home forever, right? You can trade up, you can trade that home in when you increase your appreciation, when your equity base is better. Start small, buy a condo, buy a townhome, buy a 2 to 3 bedroom single family if you can find it in a price point that makes sense for you financially. Don't worry about the interest rate. Focus on the payment. What is your best payment comfortably that you could pay every single month, day in, day out? All right, that's where I would start. So then now, much like we said, going back to our previous chart when we looked at the appreciation, let's just say, again, this is the last 20 years, all right? Last 20 years. Let's assume that the next 20 years is the same, right? Again, the next 20 years. So let's go. Bought a home, 640, 1% down payment, 20 years. Let's change the average appreciation to, let's just go 5%. So again, here we are. First time home buyer buys a home for $640, 1% out of pocket, down payment. They live in it or they keep it for 20 years. What do you think that their appreciation looks like by the end of that 20 years? Let's just say, again, they don't have to pay it off by then. Let's just say how much equity, what's that home going for now 20 years from now? $1.7 nearly million. So you're telling me as a first-time home buyer, by the way, I did this with a property that I found in our backyard here, and ran the numbers very similarly. And what I come to find out, and I'll tell you about that. However, if your buyer bought this home for $640, 1% down, let it appreciate for 20 years at an average appreciation rate of 5%, which is below what we just said. Let's even go national average of 4%, or let's go even 3.75. That home would still be worth $1.3 million. So, hey buyer, can I show you how to generate $1 million in real estate assets by buying a home this year? I will put on a flyer, learn how to be a millionaire with real estate by buying a home this year. Call me today. Or sign up for my free webinar. Sign up for my free, you get my point? So I ran a scenario for a property in our backyard here at Chino Hills. And that scenario was that property sold back in, I want to say it was 97 for $300,000. Let's just say that buyer bought it for 5% down. Back in 97, that would have been 26 years ago. And I ran the appreciation schedule at 5.75. This home today is actually listed for $1.4 million. So you got to go back to history to know where we're going. And history shows, and by the way, this is a property that was built in 97. It was a new construction, built in 97. I believe the square footage was like 2,700 square feet on a 500 square foot lot. They bought it for $300,000 in 1997, and today it's listed for 1.39. It may not go for 1.39, yet I do believe it's going to go in that 1.2 to 1.3. When you look at that, and here's a little quick chart for you to show, right? Purchase price was $300,000. That profit on that seller who bought that home, assuming, and they kept it, and it was the same seller since 97, they would have made $983,000 doing nothing more than paying their primary mortgage. Just something to think about. All right? So I trust this helps. When in doubt, educate, educate, educate. This is a show me market. This is not a tell me market. Get out there and educate your clients. Show them these visuals. I will put these visuals in the chat so that way you've got them. And that way you can have an educated conversation with your clients about what the opportunities are in this market, and don't listen to the general media, because the general media is all about doom and gloom and all about ratings and making money that way. Because otherwise, it's a great time to buy some real estate. And by the way, if you're an agent, buy some real estate this year as well. Why not? Take care.